Here we're going to be talking about your breath as a pharmacy. And we're going to go deeper into this library of different pranayama breathing techniques that you can use to create your own medicines on command. All right. So first, let's just talk a little bit about what happens when we get sick and we get symptoms of potential sickness. Okay. So usually you go and see a doctor or you go to the pharmacist when you get certain symptoms. Let's say you got annoying heartburn that won't go away. You go to the doctor and maybe they'll give you an antacid prescription, and you go to the pharmacy and then hopefully that would solve the symptoms. Or let's say you got a really horrible headache. You'd go buy some painkillers from the pharmacy and then you'd pray that that would alleviate those symptoms. However, what they do is they alleviate the symptoms, which is just the symptom of the condition, not the cause. And this is the big problem with modern healthcare, is that it works symptomatically. It doesn't go to the actual cause of where all these problems are coming from in the first place. And I'm hoping by now you've got a really good understanding how breathing influences your physiology at such a core, deep level, and that over-breathing, hyperventilation, is one of the causes of many problems with your health. And symptoms of stress makes you overbreathe, and all that overbreathing turns into a vicious cycle where you actually end up causing more distress in your body and more of those symptoms that are associated with stress. So let's go through a checklist of what some of those symptoms might be. Well, first I'm going to talk to you about this from an Ayurvedic perspective. So Ayurveda is what I went into to really go deeper and widen my knowledge and understanding of traditional yoga and how I can use these practices to help me heal. So in the Ayurvedic philosophy is a very simple checklist to follow to see whether you're well or not well. And that's this. Do you breathe well? Do you sleep well? Do you eat well? Do you shit well? Do you piss well? Do you think well? Do you hold no grudges or hate? And do you love what you do and others around you? Then you are truly well. However, when you start to experience issues with sleeping, eating, not able to be able to think clearly, and perhaps you're holding on to some grudge from the past and anger and resentment from the past, or perhaps you're anxious and worried about the future. If this goes on for too long, then you become chronically stressed. And this chronic stress will lead to inflammation, overbreathing, and then you get what is called a heart attack. Because the leading cause of death in the world is actually heart disease and heart attacks. And when you get chronically stressed for too long, all of this takes its toll on your physiology. You get inflamed, you may even get cancer, you get chronic tension where the stress means that your muscles contract, blood flow diminishes to your muscles and joints and tissues, and this leads to disease. So it's a really good idea to solve any of these lifestyle factors, because this really is issues of lifestyle. Chronic disease is an issue of your lifestyle. And that's the Ayurvedic philosophy, is that when you get sick, majority of the times, all you need to do is check in with your lifestyle. This is what we're going to be going into and giving you tools on how to improve your lifestyle, because all of these will affect your ability to breathe in a smooth, silent, circular, rhythmic, diaphragmic way. Because observe how you feel when you experience some pain, or if you're not sleeping properly or eating properly, getting all that pain inside. Observe your breathing, because your breath is a mirror of what's going on in the inside. You might find that you are breathing through your mouth, heavy, deep breaths, and your breath is not smooth and circular and calm as we want it to be. So use this breath as a guide, and also use this checklist I'm going to provide with you. So in this checklist, you're going to get a list of trigger symptoms, which you really want to pay attention to. If you start to experience them, you want to work on making sure they don't turn into a chronic long-term issue. But then there's also some additional symptoms, which are warning bell symptoms, which means you should go to the doctor immediately, okay? So you're going to have a clear list of symptoms that we call trigger symptoms, which you can deal with yourself, and then alarm bell symptoms, which are symptoms you must go for emergency treatment from your doctor from. But there's an even more profound question you can ask yourself every single morning. And this is what I call the morning health checkup. Ask yourself, am I waking up with enthusiasm to do a hard day's work and be kind and compassionate to others? Or do I wake up feeling like I have to rather than I want to? If you lack enthusiasm to get out of bed in the morning, to do the things that you really want to do, and if you lack enthusiasm to be kind and compassionate, this, if it's left unchecked, is going to make you chronically stressed. All right? Because ultimately, where you spend most of your day during the day is working, doing things. Maybe it's your business, maybe it's a job. But if you're spending 8 hours, 10 hours a day hating your job and hating the people around you, this is going to take its toll eventually. You're going to get chronically stressed. That chronic stress is going to lead to all of those symptoms that I just talked about. So the moment you start to feel like you can't get out of bed, and that could even be right now, and if you're somebody who's feeling that right now, I fully can relate to you, because this is what I felt as a pharmacist. I found it really hard to get out of bed. I had to change my perception of what I was doing. Firstly, I had to find a way to change my career and do something that I love. And I started to seek out people that I could model their success and strategies to help me to move into a career that was more aligned with who I am. But the thing is, we must also take care of the present moment. And my Swami always said to me this one thing: first make peace with your present moment. And that was to change my perception of the career I was in and seeing it in a new light. And I started to look at, how can I improve my job so I don't hate it so much? How can I practice being kind and compassionate? What are the things I can do? I started to ask those questions, and this is what led me to actually creating my own healthy shopping list service and going deeper into actually fixing the cause of most people's health issues rather than just treating symptoms. And I'm sure if you really think about it and spend some time contemplating, you can find ways to make your present moment more peaceful and more aligned with who you are. And there's a great saying that Buddha says that all we can really control is the 200 meters in front of us. Okay, it's our little garden of paradise that we can create by just taking care of the things that happen around us. Because if you can make this little area around you a perfect place for you, aligned to who you are, then what happens is this rubs off around you. It becomes like a butterfly effect that goes and actually makes a bigger change around the world through a network effect. And this is what I want to do, because if you can make yourself feel content and peaceful, and that's why the breath is so powerful, because that can instantly help you change your state, bring in balance, and to cultivate a sense of peace around you, then you will influence and rub off this energy around you onto others and inspire other people to make the same changes. And then through one breath at a time, we make a change that impacts the entire world. So breathing techniques from pranayama really is like your own breath pharmacy. All right. And when you understand how to do them, you can actually prevent and treat some of those trigger symptoms from happening. So if you do get any of these trigger symptoms, then we have a technique. We have 3 techniques that you can go to help relieve them. So say you're suffering from stress and anxiety and finding it hard to go to sleep. You may even have elevated high blood pressure. Then there's a technique for that. We call it slow rechaka. Perhaps you've got heartburn and indigestion, and maybe you've got IBS because your gut microbiome has gone out of sync. So there's a technique for that. It's called Kati Mudra. Perhaps you have got a blocked nose. This is very common. Blocked nose, congestion, and also constipation is linked to the nasal passages as well. We have a technique for that. Powerful technique that in minutes can unblock your nose and relieve constipation. So go ahead now and check out those tutorials we've got for you for each one of those techniques. Test them out, see how you feel doing them. And we also download that checklist, have a read through it, and check in with any of those symptoms if you're being affected by them right now. And then your practice for today is, first thing, as always, measure your breath hold time first thing in the morning. That's right. This is a recurring daily task. You're going to do this every single day. Then you can continue with the reduced breathing exercises in the morning. This is again another recurring daily task. And of course, you can do our daily dose. So you can get that daily dose of intermittent hypoxia that's going to help you feel amazing right from the start of the day. And then these extra breath farmer exercises you can do when you need to throughout the day as you need them. So much love, positive energy. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Hi, Neeraj here, and welcome back to this next lesson. So